Ian Huntley, the monster behind the Soham murders. Ian Huntley is a name that will forever be associated with one of the most horrifying crimes in British history. In 2002, he was responsible for the murders of two 10-year-old girls, Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, in the small town of Soham, England. This shocking case not only devastated the victims' families, but also shook the entire nation, raising serious concerns about child safety, background checks, and trust in those who are supposed to protect children. But who was Ian Huntley before these horrific crimes? How did he manage to lure two innocent children into his trap, and what led to his eventual downfall? To understand the full scale of this tragedy, we need to take a closer look at Huntley's past, the investigation that followed, and the lasting impact his crimes had on society. Ian Huntley was born on January 31, 1974, in Grimsby, England. He grew up in a working-class family, and his childhood was marked by instability. Huntley was often described as a shy and introverted child, but as he grew older, disturbing patterns in his behavior began to emerge. During his teenage years, Huntley struggled socially. He was bullied at school and had difficulty forming meaningful relationships. However, those who knew him also noticed that he had a manipulative and controlling side. He was known for his quick temper, and there were early warning signs that he had a troubling fascination with young girls. By the time he reached adulthood, Huntley had already been accused of multiple sexual offenses, including allegations of rape and inappropriate conduct with minors. Shockingly, despite these accusations, he was never convicted. Due to failures in the legal system, there was no formal record of his alleged crimes, allowing him to continue living without restriction. This crucial oversight would later prove to have devastating consequences. A dangerous man in a trusted position. In the early 2000s, Huntley moved to Soham, a quiet and peaceful town in Cambridgeshire. It was here that he secured a job as a school caretaker at Soham Village College. His position meant that he had direct contact with children, and because there was no official record of his past allegations, he was able to work around young students without any suspicion. Huntley was in a relationship with Maxine Carr, a teaching assistant at a local primary school. Carr played a key role in the case, as she initially supported Huntley and even provided a false alibi for him. She had developed a deep emotional attachment to him and seemed to ignore the warning signs of his controlling and manipulative nature. On August 4, 2002, the small town of Soham was about to experience an unimaginable tragedy. Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman were best friends who lived in Soham. On that fateful Sunday, they were enjoying a summer day together, attending a family barbecue at Holly's house. At around 6:15 p.m., they decided to leave the house for a short walk. The last known image of them was taken just before they left, a photograph showing them smiling, both wearing matching red Manchester United football shirts. As they walked through the town, they passed by the house where Ian Huntley lived. Huntley spotted the girls and called them over, using his connection to the school to build their trust. It's believed that he invited them inside under the pretense of discussing something about Maxine Carr, whom the girls knew from school. Once inside, Huntley's true intentions became horrifyingly clear. Although the exact details of what happened next remain uncertain, what is known is that Huntley murdered both girls inside his home. He later claimed in court that their deaths were accidental, but forensic evidence suggested otherwise. After committing the murders, Huntley panicked. He needed to dispose of the bodies quickly to cover his tracks. In a desperate attempt to erase evidence, he transported the girls' remains to a remote ditch near RAF Lakenheath, about 12 miles from Soham. He then set fire to their bodies in an effort to destroy any forensic evidence that could link him to the crime. On the night of August 4, 2002, when Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman did not return home, their parents panicked. They desperately searched for the girls before calling the police. The disappearance quickly became one of the largest search cases in UK history, with thousands of volunteers and police officers mobilised to find them. Posters with the girls' photos were spread across the country, and the national media began covering the case incessantly. Among those who appeared to help in the search was Ian Huntley. He even gave interviews to reporters pretending to be concerned and saying he had last seen them. In a now famous interview, he even suggested that they might have been kidnapped while trying to hide his own involvement. Meanwhile, the police intensified their investigation. Since Huntley was one of the last people to see the girls, he naturally became one of the first to be questioned. Initially, he managed to mislead investigators because his girlfriend, Maxine Carr, provided a false alibi, claiming she was with him at the time of the disappearance. The collapse of the alibi and the macabre discovery. The turning point in the case came when investigators discovered that Maxine Carr was not in town on the day the girls disappeared. She was visiting her mother in another city, meaning her alibi for Huntley was a lie. This raised even more suspicion about him. A few days later, on August 17, 2002, a walker found the remains of Holly and Jessica in a remote location near RAF Lakenheath. The condition of the bodies indicated that Huntley had tried to destroy them by fire, but forensic evidence could still be collected. Faced with the new discoveries, the police arrested Ian Huntley and Maxine Carr. While Huntley vehemently denied his involvement, the pressure mounted. During interrogations, he offered several contradictory versions of events until he finally admitted that the girls had died in his home, though he claimed it was accidental, a version no one believed. The trial and justice Ian Huntley's trial began in November 2003. The evidence presented against him was overwhelming. Witnesses, forensic proof, and even Huntley's inconsistent statements helped portray him as the monster behind the murders. The prosecution argued that Huntley had lured the girls into his house under false pretenses and that their deaths were not accidental, as he claimed. They also revealed his disturbing history of previous accusations of sexual abuse, which had never been officially recorded in the criminal background system, allowing him to work near children. Maxine Carr was also tried, but for a different crime, conspiracy to obstruct justice. Although she did not participate in the murders, her decision to lie to protect Huntley hindered the investigation and delayed the capture of the killer. In December 2003, Ian Huntley was found guilty of the murders of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a recommendation that he never be released. Maxine Carr received a sentence of 3.5 years for providing a false alibi, but was released under police protection after serving part of her sentence. The impact and changes in society? The case had a profound impact in the UK. It exposed severe flaws in the criminal background check system and led to the creation of a stricter registry to prevent sexual predators from working with children. Additionally, the tragedy made society question how easily dangerous individuals could infiltrate positions of trust. The families of Holly and Jessica also helped create campaigns to raise awareness about child safety and the importance of reporting any suspicious behavior. Ian Huntley remains in prison, and his infamy stands as a reminder of the horrors he caused. The Soham case is remembered not only for the brutality of the crime, but also for the changes it brought in protecting children from predators. The memory of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman lives on, and their legacy serves as an eternal warning to ensure that tragedies like this never happen again.